recent days. Now, this comes as a poll shows a majority of Washington residents oppose the federal takeover. On Wednesday, the vice president was heckled during a visit with guard troops. Since the takeover began, however, federal agents working with D.C. police have arrested at least 630 people and seized 86 illegal firearms. D.C. police confirmed to CBS News there's not been a reported homicide in Washington since.
And a major decision on the civil fraud case against the president. What happened?
Yeah, that's right. A New York appellate court threw out the more than $500 million penalty the president owed in the civil fraud case against him, with one of the justices arguing the fine was excessive. The president, whose company had been found guilty of criminal tax fraud last year, today declared total victory. But the case is far from over. The decision merely tosses out the fine, not the underlying fraud ruling against him. He's still barred from doing business in New York State for 3 years, his sons for 2 years. The president can appeal the case to the state's highest court, and the New York Attorney General tonight says she'll appeal the decision that tossed out the fine.
Ed O'Keefe at the White House. Thank you, Ed. Now some of the top stories from around the world in tonight's Evening News Roundup. California's Senate today approved a redrawn political map intended to give Democrats at least 5 more seats in the U.S. Congress. Governor Gavin Newsom hopes to get this on the ballot for the special election in November. The Democrats to counter the Republican redistricting plan in Texas. Other states are preparing similar redistricting efforts. Overseas, Russia attacked western Ukraine overnight. At least one cruise missile struck an American-owned electronics plant that President Zelensky says makes coffee machines, among other items. Zelensky said the Russians attacked, quote, as if there were no efforts by the world to stop this war. And an ominous warning today from Israel's military advising medical officials to prepare for evacuation of Israel and move its more than 500,000 residents to shelters in the south. In the Gaza Strip, the U.S. and Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, or GHF, was established to replace the United Nations as the main distributor of aid. In June, the U.S. State Department approved $30 million for the group, calling its work absolutely incredible. Deborah Patta spoke with a former insider with the GHF and joins us from London.
According to killed by Israel Defense Forces and foreign military contractors at or near GHF aid sites. We spoke to a new eyewitness who concurs. He told us it's not only the IDF shooting, but also personnel hired through American subcontractors to secure GHF sites.
I thought I was going there to help people.
This man was hired by an American logistics company to drive aid trucks in Israel. He says he had no idea it meant he'd be working with the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation inside Gaza. Because he fears reprisals. We will call him Mike. He secretly recorded several videos, including this one. What you are hearing, he says, is the sound of gunfire from brightly lit GHF sites fired at Palestinians seeking aid.
It took me 2 or 3 days to realize that they were actually shooting at people and shooting at combatants.
So, these were warning shots?
No, it's indiscriminate.
And who was doing the shooting?
The IDF and the American security personnel. They've got positions on each corner of the sites, and they would often shoot at exactly the same time as the Israeli soldiers.
We do not see who was shooting on the videos Mike gave us, but he said there was not a single occasion he observed when there was no shooting, and he was at the sites on average 5 days a week for several weeks. CBS News has seen his work schedule, and metadata his cell phone confirms the dates and times he was in Gaza. CBS News has been on near GHF sites. It began operating at sites at the end of May. Palestinians would gather near the sites hours before they opened to be the first to grab food.
I was breathing quite heavily because I'd never seen a crowd of people behave with such intensity and such inspiration.
What's the word?
Perimeter, and I was sort of cleaning up the some humans.